Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm here with the returning Leonard, or Marto Leonardo, and he's just come in, finished his tea. I'll give him 30 seconds.
I'm all
Mr.
right.
KT AVFC, how you doing?
Mate, let's go. Let's talk about Villa.
Let's talk about Villa. Martin, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you back.
Yeah. Oh, cheers. Voice nearly gone.
Well, you see,
Yeah.
you're out of practice. Out of practice.
Out of practice is right. No, all good to be back. Good bit of free times now in my hands, so podcast galore.
Great stuff, mate. Great stuff. And thanks for everyone joining us. Don't forget, please do hit that like button. Help us spread the word of the channel. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the channel. Lads, we're at 1,049. So we could get over that 1,050 mark today. And also, as we said on the last last live show, we do have the option for super chats. It's a little $sign. If you want to click that button, donate to the channel. It really helps us to grow and do lots of shows like the Talking Tactics show. We've got one or two little ideas for some extra shows coming up soon. So yeah, all that goes straight back into the channel to help us continue to produce content. Laz's comments coming in already. Lee's joining us. Come on, me babbies. Absolutely, mate. Alfie's in the house. Evening all. T1's here. Hey, Kev, Rich, and Marty. Rachel is here. Hi, Rachel. Deontay is here. Hope everyone is well. Hope you are well. And T1 saying hello to Rachel. Sisters in arms, of course. So,
sorry, Rich,
lads,
just before you go on, funny enough, one of the subscribers is actually my foreman from work.
Oh, brilliant.
He's an Aston Villa fan. And because I seen him wearing the jumper, and I was like, "Do you support Aston Villa, or is that just a top you just have just for the sake of wearing it?" And he goes, "No, I support Aston Villa." And he said he watches a few podcasts, and I said, "Do you watch our one by any chance?" And he goes, "No, what's it called?" And he goes, "Villa Park Pod." So he was looking up, and literally found it, subscribed to it, and literally the one video we clicked on, and I swear to God, it was me with a big scruffy beard, this scruffy head of me, and he's looking at it going, "You're putting yourself on screen like this." And we had a good laugh. So I hope he's watching tonight. I'm a bit more clean shaven now, Gavin, and a bit more hair is slightly more down.
Good stuff. Well, Gavin, it's great to have you on board, and as with everybody else. And my dad actually messaged me the other day. He's on holiday in St. Lucia, and he met a Villa fan, and he was like, "What's your podcast?" He's going to subscribe to it. So we've got another St. Lucian. I don't know if they're on holiday or if they're from there, but we've got them involved in subscribing as well. So let's get on to matters. Aston Villa. Kev, I'll come to you first. West Ham on Sunday. What are your general thoughts, mate? Because we're going to go into stats. We're going to go into all that. But general thoughts coming into the game for Sunday, sorry.
Well, my general thoughts is that Aston Villa normally lose games like this that they should win because, they're struggling at the bottom of the league. Their managers under intense pressure. We weren't sure whether he was going to hang on, obviously, even for this game. But I think he's been given maybe one more game. Because obviously under Gerrard, I think there was a similar result we had where backs were really against the wall for Gerrard and we beat Southampton. And it kept him just in the job a bit longer. And beating Forest for them obviously was a bit more than a 1-0 win. It was a quite convincing win, although Forest are terrible on the road. To then lose 4-0 the game afterwards is pretty stark for them. So really, Villa won the last two, keeping a bit more of a tighter ship at the back. We've proven we can score goals because we're the only Premier League team to have scored in every game in 2023. So you'd fancy us to score, and he's tied up the back, and they're struggling, and we've got aspirations to kick on. So I'm actually feeling quite positive about it. My worry is obviously Kamara.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a bit when we talk through your lineups, and we'll get into discussion on who replaces him. But just again with you, Martin. Obviously, you weren't on in the Palace reaction, but obviously we got the win there. Not the best of games, but as Kev says, we're 2 wins on the bounce. Are you fairly confident we could make it 3 on the bounce?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, what did we do? We won 3 away games in a row, which was probably something unheard of from Aston Villa for a while. So I don't see why we can't make it 3 wins in a row. It's against a team that's really there for the taking. So I don't see any issues as to why. But at the same time, I'm in agreement with Kevin. We normally lose these games when we should win. So it's 50-50. And West Ham and Villa, doesn't matter how bad one team have been or how good one team has been, this is a fixture that's always been a tricky fixture. Even for a neutral, if going to the bookies, I'm not touching this game. This fixture is always dodgy. So I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, Deontay said they won 2-0 tonight in the Conference League. I think they were in Ayia Napa, so I think their fans have had a good time over there. I don't know whether it's obviously not in season at the moment, but they'd have enjoyed it anyway. I think that takes you back to your repping days, Kev.
Yeah, I never did Ayia Napa, mate. It's just more the Greek islands for me. But yeah, imagine that. You'd love a trip to Larnaca, like in the early rounds, like the June when you're back in June, July. You wouldn't saying, listen, I just got I got a long weekend in Ayia Napa coming up. Hold tight.
Yeah, it's football related. You tell the missus it's for the Villa. It's not. Related, yeah. But yeah, obviously West Ham. You alluded to it, and like I say, we will get into the stats shortly, but it's not a real happy hunting ground for us, and I guess it's sometimes been the way that they've played, Kev, in terms of that physicality, kind of catch us on the break, let us have the ball. Declan Rice usually plays well against us. Souček has usually played well, but he's not in great form this season. But yeah, they're a team that really has frustrated Villa, and they've also got a certain striker that may come back to haunt us.
Well, he didn't play tonight. He stayed on the bench all night, so maybe they rested him.
Yeah, exactly.
Although if I was Villa, they're desperate for a striker. If I would have had some kind of clause in there saying, listen, unless it's illegal to have it for a permanent transfer, listen, we'll sell him to you, but you won't play him against us. Because it just be classic, wouldn't it? Yeah, listen, they are a team over the years that we have struggled with. I mean, I think we've had some pretty, disappointing. I remember I think we had a draw in the Prem earlier when we were in the Prem, when I think they were down to 10 men and we couldn't beat them. I think it was a 0-0 draw. Obviously, we've had this season, West Ham have only won one away game all season. And you guessed it, folks, it was at Villa Park, 1-0 with a spawning goal. I've got memories of, I think it might have been first or second season back in the Prem when, do you remember when Watkins should have had a penalty and was robbed with an offside goal? So if it wasn't if it was offside.
Yeah, I remember. That was when Grealish scored that really good goal as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think we ended up losing the game. And it was one of those games you were like, how the hell did we lose? We were at our swashbuckling best that night. It was kind of reminiscent of the Arsenal away performance, creating a lot of chances. So we've not really got much of a good record against them in the Prem. And you mentioned it, mate, the physicality. You've had the Souček, you've had Kufau, you've had Declan Rice, Antonio. They seem to have kind of done a bit of a number on us, really. The centre halves always seem to be quite physical, which is why I do think there's an obvious choice if he's available for a Dendoncker or worst case scenario, Chambers to come in, because at least it might nullify some of their physicality.
Yeah. Just on that point, Martin, about Danny Ings, is it one of them where? Well, I think Villa Stato mentioned something like he'd be. I don't know if it's like one of the first players or first player in sort of in common with Aston Villa who would have both scored for Villa and against Villa in the same season. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it, where it's almost bound to happen, isn't it, Matt?
It would be very typical indeed. But I really hope it doesn't happen. Because
he got two against Forest, didn't he? He got two against Forest.
He got two against Forest, yeah.
Who did they lose? Did they lose their last game?
Yeah, they lost 4-0 then to Brighton. So
that's
effectively,
right. Yes.
They won. Yeah. They smacked Forest 4-0 and then got smacked 4-0. So they just came back to a middle. But I really don't want Danny Ings to score. And I like Ings for his time at Villa, and I did. But from a Villa standpoint, fuck him. I hope he doesn't score or get a shot on target. Hell, I hope he stays on the bench. I don't want him anywhere near that football pitch, because I know he's going to, if he gets a sniff, because he knows what way Cons is going to play. He knows what way Mings is going to play. He'll know how to run off the shoulder and do whatever. And then he might just dink Martinez. And I have a feeling that's going to be the typical finish if we do concede. Danny Ings will score, and then, like you said, he'd be probably the first player in the Premier League to score for Villa and against Villa in the same season.
Yeah.
And it's really the mark of an inconsistent team, isn't it? Of a wildly inconsistent team, not to lose one week, win the next week, but to win 4-0 and then to lose 4-0 in consecutive weeks. And we did it because we beat Brentford 4-0 the week after.
And they lost to Newcastle 4-0,
yeah. Newcastle 4-0. So and that really sums up, I guess, where we were at the time, obviously under Emery. And that's what I think West Ham fans will be thinking is, hang on a minute, you can get a manager in and start to get a bit more consistency. So the other thing I was going to say about this game is we've got a team here that, they've beat Larnaca tonight. Us three and Tywin and Rachel have beat Larnaca, like combined. They're not much cup, are they?
I don't think Rachel and Tywin will be a formidable front line, though, like enough to frighten any opposition, I guarantee.
No doubt about there'll be absolute rapid pace and great finishing prowess. But they're expected to win that game. They're not a top side, are they, Larnaca? So you've got a situation where they might have a bit of confidence from that, but at home, by all accounts, they've been playing not great at all. The fans are getting on the backs quite a bit, and Villa should really be capitalising on that. It's the mark of a good team, a confident team. It's like anything. You spot a bit of a weakness in an opponent, and you play on that, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Kev, is there any other player or players in the West Ham team that you'd be fairly concerned about? Because this is famous last words, but one or two of their players haven't really hit the heights that they should have done, and I don't really see too many in their team that would really frighten me at the moment.
No, I think they've spent a fair bit of cash. They've obviously got some decent players in. I don't think, famous last words, we might say this, but I don't think the likes of Paqueta have really done much. I don't think really Ben Rama, since he's been there, has done much. Bowen's not had the same level of form he had, obviously, the previous season when he got himself to the England squad. Rice, he's an absolute great player, but I don't think he's been, again, probably quite as good, as he has been in the past. They don't seem to have the same kind of threat, from the centre halves who always used to pop up with a goal. And Antonio has been really struggling, and the fans are really on his back as well. So I think that they're just... You know what I felt about West Ham last year? A little bit, not quite the same, but a little bit like Man United and Newcastle this season, who are probably overachieving based on where they were previously. West Ham, after nearly getting relegated with us, not long ago, to be knocking on the door of obviously top four, to get to a European semi-final, that was a massive overachievement. And when momentum's with you, when you get a bit of a siege mentality, it was great to watch them, actually. And there was these players playing out of their skin and massively overperforming. Classic scenario happens, it drops off. A couple of players not gelling that have been brought in as new signings. And some of those players that were maybe above a level that they've played previously have dropped off as well. And that combined, obviously, with Moyes' maybe tightening up things a little bit, not being that offensive. Look where they are now. They're struggling.
Yeah.
I think they're too good to go, but we're getting on towards April now, lads.
Yeah, the pressure's definitely on. Rachel's commented there. Stats are against us with this one. West Ham won today as well. Possible confidence boost for them. T1 has just come back there. Stats have shown that they do not normally do well when they win in Europe and play in the EPL afterwards. And then John has put the only team West Ham have beaten after a European game this season is Villa. So yeah, as you're just echoing your point. And then Rich says, yes, chap. So thanks for joining us, Rich. On to Villa. Martin, in terms of us, after beating Everton, after beating Palace, facing West Ham, we've all said they're a team that we should be looking to beat. Certainly if we want to kind of put a run together and get up the table instead of kind of staying in this eternal position of 11th. But how would you approach it if you were Emery?
With caution. And the reason I say that is due to the physicality and the counter-attacking game that West Ham normally employ. But as brief history has shown, that Emery does be cautious away. He tightens things up at the back, we don't necessarily have a higher press in Villa Park than we do away from home, so we drop that a little bit deeper and try to catch teams on the counter. So I can kind of see West Ham enjoying a bit more possession, but then us making use of our possession better than what West Ham will. So he will approach this one with caution, with care, knowing that the physicality that they've got, and just trying not to concede any, silly free kicks from set pieces, from centre halves, corners. So I think he'll approach it with caution and try to set up on the counter against West Ham, which is a very difficult thing to do. But I believe in Emery, and I hope he can do it.
Yeah, yeah. And Kev, would you echo the points Martin made, or would you be like Emery, go at him from the off?
I don't think that's been his modus operandi on the road at all. And we've, we talk about it, but again, let's mention it because it might change soon. 12 points out of 15 on the road. In fact, I was chatting to someone earlier. I wouldn't say we won 4 games on the road out of 5. We won 4.5 games out of 5, haven't we? Because we won that second half against Man City.
We did, yeah. And then Duran had that shot, hit the bar.
Exactly.
Coutinho came and did really well. Yeah.
And I still say it, if that went in, that was Villa's goal of the month.
Yeah, goal of the season if that had gone in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But in all of those games that we've won, it's not been swashbuckling football. It's not been at all. We've ground out results. It's been a bit turgid at times. But we've fought fire with fire and we've taken our opportunities. So I can't see any different than that. The thing I'm hoping is, I know obviously Everton were in dire straits, but they did have the bounce of 2 wins in a row under Dyche at home. So they were probably a bit more fancied than they have been at any point in that season after winning 2 games in a row. West Ham, feasibly, if Leeds and Everton win on Saturday, could be in the bottom 3 by the time they play us. And that would be absolutely
pressure
massive.
on.
And Leeds and Everton, I'm not saying they're easy games they've got, but Everton have got Brentford at home and Leeds have got Brighton at home. So it's not like they're away at Man City. There's a chance they could be. Even a draw, might get them level in the bottom 3. And that brings a level of pressure that you haven't really seen them rise this season and massive, other than that Forest game, and bring in like phenomenal performances. So it's a big opportunity for us. And particularly with Bournemouth the week after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Afterwards as well.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be great to get, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but it'd be great to finish up with a brilliant run going into the international break. So yeah, fingers crossed. Tyrone says she's confident in Emery to have a plan just for the team to execute. Absolutely, and he does tend to have specific plans, particularly for away games, which is good. We're going to get your predicted teams up, lads, because obviously that question on everyone's lips is, how do we replace Kamara? Not that we can really. So you guys get your predicted 11s in the comments. I'll read them out and kind of your thoughts on who should come in to replace Kamara. Obviously, did the Bodymore Bulletin the other day. If anyone hasn't seen that, please do check it out. Just a quick roundup, but talked about McGinn in there. Callum Chambers in there, or Dendoncker coming in. Obviously, he missed the Palace game, and then I don't know. Does he draft in Arjun Reiki, someone like that? I've heard echoes of him training with the first team now and being fast tracked through. So maybe he could be put in the squad. But yeah, before we get your teams up, Martin, I'll come to you first, just specifically on the Kamara issue. He is irreplaceable, but what would you do? Like, without giving too much away specifically with your team, how would you approach it?
It's difficult considering that he's gone for the second time now. I really don't know what I do, because it's just
it's so difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just thinking here, and I'm trying, and then every time I'm thinking, I'm going off to another planet. Like, oh, this is what I was on about again. Actually, no, hang on, back to Kamara. No, I just can't think of anything, and the only thing I can think of, I'll explain it when I see the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get yours up in terms of lineup. So, yeah, talk us through now. There's one on the left. I don't know if Coutinho is going to be fit, mate, but I know he's been training. But yeah, talk us through it. Talk us through your team.
Well, I went with McGinn in the 6, and I know a lot of people would probably hate me for it, especially Sam. But I just think he's probably the most natural one to go there because, as we know, Louise and Ramsey further up has really been effective this season under Emery. So I think maybe dropping McGinn there might work a little bit better under Emery because we play from out the back.
Mm-hmm.
I know Coutinho kind of racing for fitness, but I think he might just about get a start considering I just don't want Leon Bailey anywhere near this team. So, Kevin, hallelujah to you, my friend. And then the back four, I think, picked itself at the moment. Cash has been on pretty good form. Konza and Mings looking well. Martinez is Martinez. And I think Moreno has done enough to warrant himself a starting place again. Watkins in great form and Buendia. I know a lot of people probably say, Buendia is kind of 50-50, but I really like him. I think he creates a lot of chances, and sometimes our strikers don't score them, or sometimes they do. But I think Buendia is just too good to be on the bench at the moment. And I think he does need to be playing, especially in a game like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Fingers crossed. Like I say, I know news was that Carlos was back sprinting and kind of getting up to bigger, better intensity. And yeah, I think Coutinho was light training towards the start of the week. Whether that's built up to kind of full training by the end of the week, we hope, because I think I do agree. You could have a bigger impact, particularly ball retention with obviously Kamara being out. Kev, let's take a look at your team, mate.
Sure.
Talk us through.
Yeah, so I'm pretty confident with them saying, 3 to 4 weeks out to Coutinho, a month out, that he's not. That probably would be a bit too soon for him. So, I've gone for I think I agree, Mark. The back four at the moment, I wouldn't be changing it. I think Moreno has done pretty well when he's come in. I think Cash has been back to his better form. With probably second to McGinn, my man of the match in obviously the last game. So. Mings, Konza, Martinez until Carlos is fit. I don't think there's a question over the centre half, so that's easy enough. I wouldn't have McGinn anywhere near that number 6 role. I think he's played his best football in the last couple of years when he's been further forward for Scotland, and he's played his best football for us since his injury return when he's been a bit further forward as well. Admittedly, it hasn't translated into goals and assists more too much in terms of goals just yet and assists just yet. But he did an interview in the week where he thinks he's getting closer and closer. He's feeling more confident. So I would leave him where he is. I think with Coutinho out and with Bailey still doing pretty well at Basingstoke Town, I'd have Buendia there as well. And then for me, it would be Louise obviously needs to play. Ramsey, I think his energy will be needed. And I think I'd have Dendoncker in there. Now, if Dendoncker's not fit, and there's been talk that he's not been seen in training, I think Rachel...
I'll go through. Yeah, I'll jump through comments in a minute. But yeah, definitely, it's one that's they're keeping very, very, very tight-lipped on it, aren't they?
I wonder if something else is going on, because it said it was a personal issue that I heard the other day. So maybe some kind of family situation going on. Maybe some with him. Maybe he may be struggling. Who knows? Who knows what's going on in this day and age? You never know, do you? So whatever it is, obviously, wish him all the best. It would be a good game for him to come in from a physicality perspective, and he's been brought in as a defensive midfielder. If he's not available, Dendoncker, then I think the only option can be Chambers, and I do think Chambers wasn't as bad as everyone said he was when he came on. I think he's obviously decent.
I thought he grew into the game. I thought a few of his passes were a little bit too heavy, but sometimes that can happen with players. And I think the intent was there. He wanted to get on the ball and he wanted to get us moving forward, which was quite good. And we commented last season, Kev, when we were at the Crystal Palace game together, that if anyone was the most comfortable on the ball out of those defenders, it was Callum Chambers. And putting him into that midfield area, he's not bad with the ball at his feet, and he's quite quick, that getting the ball into feet and passing it, passing it. And that's something that we've always commented on, the likes of Konza and Mings of not being quite quick enough at sort of killing the ball and then releasing it.
So I wouldn't hate it if he was there. If it's not him, and if it's not Dendoncker or it's not Chambers or it's not McGinn, then you're really looking at a left field option. Whether that's, as you said, an Arjun Reiki, whether that's
was Alfie's Reese put Ashley Young for 60 minutes in there.
Well, I mean, if you think about someone of his ability, I mean, he's moved from obviously a winger to be a defender in his time. So I think he's still got decent energy levels. I think he probably could do a job, but I'd be surprised if he got in there ahead of.
Yeah. It'd be a tough one. I think it's not ironic at all, but I think luckily, actually, probably more luckily, a game like West Ham isn't a bad game for a Chambers or a Dendoncker, particularly with their midfield. With a Declan Rice or a Thomas Souček. Rice could get about the pitch, obviously, but height-wise, Dendoncker and Chambers are similar, and obviously speed-wise, Souček's not the quickest, and Dendonker's not the quickest, so it's not really gonna affect them, and obviously Chambers isn't the quickest either. So from that perspective, it's not a huge loss because our ball players going forward, Buendia or Ramsey or whatever, they'll be kind of, it wouldn't be a bad foil if they've got like a Chambers or a Dendoncker to kind of sit behind them.
Lads, I've got it. We just recall Tim from QPR and let him play against West Ham.
Yeah, but I mean, words are he hasn't been playing particularly well, and also he's been playing in a bit more of a more advanced role for West Ham. Now that might be just because he's one of the best players on the ball at their club, and they want to get him in areas where he can hurt them. But and also I don't know what the kind of deal is with us being able to recall him. So look, I guess the option would have been presented to Emery in January, and he didn't exercise it. So.
Yeah, he's there. He's there till the end of the season now, isn't he?
Yeah. But good plan nonetheless. Rod says it's great. Everyone, including the players, is confident in Emery. Cash was another one mentioned the other day. That's got to be a boost for the players. The gaffer knows what he's doing. T1 agrees with you, Kev. I like how Chambers looked. I'm not sure why people were saying he didn't play well. I see him playing as Emery trusts him as well. Rich says I'd leave McGinn where he is, playing a narrow 10 and Dendoncker in for Kamara. Rachel, comments there. Haven't seen any pictures of Dendoncker in training, so imagines it will be Chambers. Rod says Ashley Young, why not? He can play anywhere else. Yeah. Timon saying Coutinho is injured. Michael is in the house. Good evening, Michael. Thank you for joining us. Rachel's commenting, can I say how much Moreno and John Duran are speaking positively about Villa on social media? Yeah, it's really nice to see, and good to see them settling in well and making obviously friends, and massive part of it's off the pitch as well to make them play well on the pitch. McGinn playing forward, got the penalty and assisted Buendia in that Everton game. Yeah,
absolutely bang on. Yeah, he did.
Tiwan seems to think it was his wife might be pregnant or something with regards to Leander, so hopefully she's well. Richard, think the team needs to play a bit quicker. Definitely, that was one of the things we were saying with regards to the Crystal Palace game. It'd be nice. It's nice the ball playing, and obviously Villa tweeted the move for the goal, and there was a couple of other moves for Watkins' his chance, but it's not necessarily like the passing that's bad, and those moves are great. And also that's not the type of football that everyone says that they want to see that football all the time, but sometimes balls down the channel, sometimes longer balls into feet and into the chest are good. Like, it's about mixing it up, isn't it? It's not just about playing that perfect way of playing football all the time. You've got to be able to adapt to different situations in different games and be able to have weapons that, if you've got pacing behind, use it. If you've got a big player, a big target man up front, then use them. Like, it's not just all about kind of playing it across the back and trying to score that perfect goal, is it, Kev?
No, definitely not. And we've not really varied it enough. I guess Duran on the pitch gives you an option, doesn't it, in terms of playing it a bit longer? But it seems to really be a replacement for Watkins so far, rather than working with him. And we do faff around with it at the back, but of course, you look at the goal we scored. Admittedly, it wasn't one of our players that scored it, but it was an absolute perfect example of what Emery's trying to do, wasn't it? It was just brilliant from the goalkeeper. Cut through midfield, great ball beyond the back of the defence. Very similar pass to the one for the Coutinho goal against Arsenal, where it's played in obviously in the back again, and Buendia dummied it. But you can't be that predictable all the time, and there is going to be times when you are in a bit of trouble. You need to get that ball up a bit faster, as Michael says there, and try and play into someone's body, try and, build around Watkins holding it up.
Yeah.
You need plenty of runners. If you're doing that, plenty of support. You need plenty of energy in your team. And that's why I think the likes of Buendia and Ramsey can help in that situation as well. But if you become predictable as a team, then you get worked out really easily, which is also why us not really being a massive threat in terms of set pieces does limit our opportunities. Because look, to be clear, there are some teams that only really get an opportunity to score from set pieces if you're not great. So if we could add that to our game as well, add a bit more slightly longer ball when we need to, not a long ball game, I make it clear. Just have a few more assets and a bit more of an artillery.
Agreed. And someone like a Chambers or a Dendoncker in the side obviously adds to that height factor as well, and that's good in both boxes, particularly against the West Ham side.
Yeah.
And another player who would potentially add to that height factor, Martin, is as Richard said, John Duran. He'd love to see him get some minutes now. Would you think that this could be a game that suits a John Duran to? I don't think to start, but certainly to come on and make an impact.
Yeah. I agree there. No, not to start, but geez, my voice is gone. Really, podcast crap has been shy, hasn't it? No, definitely not to start. But coming on, I think he should get at least like 30 minutes. Like, that's definitely a lot more than probably what he was getting. Like, he was getting cameo roles of like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, an 8-minute. So like a good few 30 minutes under his belt, probably taking Coutinho off after an hour and having him and Watkins up top just for one target man and have Watkins trying to peel off him. So I think this is definitely a good game for him.
Yeah. And again, some of that physicality, tick against a team like West Ham could really help. But depends how the game's going, of course. But yeah, I think set pieces. I think West Ham are going to try and target us, we need to be on our game. And your favourite man, Kev, Austin McPhee, needs to brush up on the West Ham set pieces.
Well, rumour has it that Basingstoke are after a set piece person. So Leon's got a good word in.
Are we their feeder club? Are we?
We are. We've become Basingstoke Towns. Well, no wonder the top of the league with our quality.
Yeah.
Look, this is a game when we know how it's not going to be as easy as sometimes I think we hope it's going to be. We know that.
No, it never is at West. Never ever is. They're not a bad side. They're not. They're just not playing well. Obviously, they've won 4-0, lost 4-0, but generally their games have been pretty tight. And they're a team that if they get the lead, they're very, very, very difficult to break down, as we've faced many times over the last few years.
Yeah, so we've really got to be in a situation where it could be fine margins. It could be working out their set piece routines and making sure you keep a clean sheet, and then you nick one on the break. That could be the difference. But if we get
But look how we have a set piece coach, and yet we've conceded probably the most goals from corners.
Exactly. It's and they've not really been. There's not really been obviously there's been a couple of goals that have been similar, but it's like, I don't know, there's been like sloppy marking or not being ready quick enough, or players not winning headers or being muscled out of it. There's been so many different like types of goals that we've conceded off set pieces that's made it really frustrating. But I guess the encouraging thing is Crystal Palace are quite a physical side, Everton are quite a physical side, and we kept clean sheets against them. So in that sense, we've not done too badly in those last two games. So yeah, fingers crossed it continues that way. A couple more comments coming in. Rich says, just think we play ourselves into trouble sometimes when the ball over the top is on. I totally agree. We need to improve at it, says Rod. But so did Man City at the start. Yep, definitely. And Duncan said, West Ham are a bit of a bogey, but we can win this one with our away form and their poor general form. Absolutely. So I'm just going to go into the stats. I'm going to get the screen shared. So as I'm doing that, guys, please do, like I say, leave a like on this video. Help us spread the word of the show and of the channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe just to help us grow the channel. And if you do feel inclined, hit that super chat button and help donate to the show. Anything is amazing, and we really do appreciate it. So looking at the stats here, head-to-heads, we've played 47 times in the Premier League, fairly even on wins, so 14 total wins for West Ham, 13 for Villa. We've won 9 at home, they've won 8. They've won 6 away, and we've won for only 4 times away from home. and there's been 20 draws. So yeah, a fairly high percentage of draws in this game. Obviously, recent meetings: Villa 0, West Ham 1 earlier on this season. Deflected goal from Fornals, their only away win of the season, as you said, Kevin. Last season, they beat us 2-1. That was when we were on a bit of a decent run, actually. We'd won 3 in a row, went there and lost 2-1. Lost 4-1 earlier on that season. I think that was under Smith still, was it?
Yeah.
And then before that, in the lockdown, we lost 3-1 at Villa Park and lost 2-1 again at the London Stadium. So, guys, it's not looking great, That's 5 games.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
I think that history really doesn't mean too much at the weekend. I think more the weekend it'll be tough because they're fighting for their life survival now, aren't they? So, but I don't think the recent form really plays much into it. Really, it's ominous if you look at it from a if you try and use it as a bit of a forecast based on obviously previous fixtures. But no, I don't think they'll be going into it with a huge amount of confidence in the Premier League.
No, and then obviously fairly long trip back and playing Sunday early-ish, 2:00. You never know, could be some tiredness in the legs. And then last 5 games, in terms of the recent form in the Premier League, obviously for us, 3 defeats followed by 2 back-to-back wins and clean sheets, which is good for us. So 6 points from the last 5 there on 2 draws, a defeat, a win against Forest, and a heavy loss against Brighton. So 1-1 and drawn 2 of the last 5. So 5 points from their last 5 games. So yeah, fairly mixed for both teams. Obviously, us on a bit of a high, coming off solid wins, then off the back of a 4-0. So yeah, going to be a tricky game, like you say, Kev. I don't know if we can read too much into these, but certainly we're coming into it in the better form. Obviously, we're in 11th position, which we seem destined for. They're in 16th. We've won 10 games this season. They've won 6. We've drawn 5 for West Ham. We've drawn 4. We've lost 11. They've lost 14. They're averaging less than a goal per game. We're averaging now just pretty much 1.25 goals per game. So that's going up steadily. We do concede more than them, though, at the moment. So, yeah, probably going to be a tight game, which we create a slightly more chances per game than them. And we've also had more clean sheets. So, yeah, all in all, should definitely be a game that we're going to win, that we should win, but also, a tough game nonetheless, Kev.
Yeah, it will be a tough game, and I know that recent form guide makes it look like what they've got 5 points and we've got 6 points. Is that right in terms of the last 5?
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be clear. I know, like, we've all got to play tough teams. In the league since the turn of the year, we've obviously we beat Spurs on New Year's Day, great away win. We had a draw against actually a very good Wolves team on the day at home. Then we beat Leeds at home. Then we beat Southampton away. Then we obviously had that spell where we lost 4-2 2 games in a row, and that was sandwiching a defeat away at Man City. And then we won the last 2 again. So I'd say when you're playing the top 2 teams in the league, other than the Leicester aberration, and they had a little bit of an upturn in form, we've been in great form in the league. We've been grinding results out consistently.
Yeah.
We've not lost before that 3-game spell where, fine, it was Liverpool on Boxing Day, was it? So, we're not that recent 5 games. When you're playing Man City and Arsenal fighting out for the top of the league, is I think that might have been different potentially against others.
Agreed. A couple of score predictions coming in already, guys. Get your score predictions in, lads. I'm going to ask you for yours shortly. But really, really nice comment here from Michael. He just wants to say that thank you for our work on this channel, and we not only inform but we also educate. Mate, that is great to hear, and thank you so much for the support.
Thanks, Michael.
There.
Shame we don't entertain them, unfortunately. I'm joking. Really joking. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
But yeah, it's great to have your support, mate. Thank you so much. So yeah, scores. Get your score predictions in, people. We'll get them read out. I think Richard said here he's got total confidence in Emery, a tactical masterclass, and a 1-0 and a goal from Watkins, which would be great. Martin, I will come to you first. What do you think the scoreline is going to be this Sunday?
2-1 Villa.
2-1 Villa. Nice. Who's scoring?
Watkins and Louise.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Not from a
And
corner now before anyone starts.
Who's scoring for West Ham?
Come on. You know it.
Danny Ings.
You tried your hardest to say.
I did.
To
I
not
was
say
trying to
anything.
find somebody.
Yeah. Rachel says, do you agree with you, mate? 2-1 Villa. Tom joining us says Villa to win 2-0. Deontay says 1-1.
Is that
Nick,
was that the same Tom Murhead that I probably met in the Sacred Heart Club? He's living in Birmingham most of his life, but he's actually from Monaghan.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
If
yeah.
it is,
Let us know in the comments.
If it is who I'm thinking of, Tom, just let me know if I'm right.
Yeah, good stuff. Nick says, last couple of seasons, we've been the better team at West Ham, but haven't got the result. Hoping we can beat them this time. And he says, West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. That would be a hell of a game.
That's
be
one
a
of the
classic.
classical result or something.
Yeah. Kev, what about you, mate? What are you saying?
It's going to be Aston Villa going to the London Stadium and getting a 3-0 away win and putting the final nail in David
Jesus,
Moyes'
Kevin.
coffin. The final nail in his coffin. Yeah. And it's going to be a brace from McGinn and a goal from Watkins. You heard it here first.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So no Danny Ings to haunt us then.
No.
Yeah.
Danny Ings is going to miscontrol one and McGinn's going to do a marauding run. Smash one in from 20 yards. Listen, we've got to strike while the iron is hot. They are struggling. They know that we know. Also, we haven't spoken about this yet. Where they are in the league and the pressure they're under, we get an early goal. That crowd aren't going to be happy.
Fans can turn.
Yeah, the crowd's going to turn very quickly. Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah. Michael says 2-1 Villa. Robert says 3-1 to Villa. And Nick says 3-2. T1 is seeing 2-0 Villa. So very confident. Everyone's saying a win apart from Deontay, who says a draw. And Tom says, yes, it is him. Confirming there with you, Martin. And Rich is happy with your prediction, Kev.
Yes,
I'm going to say... I'm going to say 2-0 as well. Yeah, I think we're going to win 2-0. I think, again, another clean sheet. As everyone's echoed, I don't see them causing us major problems. And I think, as we've said before, Emery sets up so well away from home in terms of frustrating the opposition and quieting down that crowd and having a specific tactic to beat them. The only thing that can get in our way is that possession side that Kamara offers, that calmness on the ball. But we might even try and go back to front a little bit quicker this time round, which might suit us. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 and a goal in each half, and I'm going to say Watkins, yes, and I think McGinn will get on the score sheet this time as I think he's itching for a goal. So
the thing I was going to say as well is obviously we would like to go into the international break unbeaten and getting 4 wins in a row. And it would be fantastic in terms of that, keeping that momentum going. But also, if we did beat West Ham, with that home game against Bournemouth coming before the international break, we've got a chance to be on 40 points. And 40 points is quite a significant points total in the Premier League. If we could be on that in March, that it's a real opportunity to kick on to be getting, in the 50s, hopefully. So I think it's going to be big. And I think Emery will know that. I think we all feel we're pretty safe from relegation. We're 7 points clear of 12th spot. We'd need a hell of a lot of teams that aren't great this season to overtake us. So I think we're past that now. But if you want to start looking upwards properly, then you need to take opportunities to beat teams like this.
100%. Also, it's a double Villa West Ham weekend because Villa women are playing away against West Ham as well. And the last couple of weeks has been
Is that on the same day or is that 2 different days?
Yeah. 3 o'clock kickoff. So Villa's is 2 o'clock. West Ham's is Villa women is 3 o'clock. It's a shame really that it's not kind of staggered to help with attendances. I don't know how close they play at Dagenham, so I don't know how close that is. But anyway, Villa women played. They obviously got a great win the other day against Everton, 2-0, cementing their place in 5th position in the league. And the last couple of weeks has been, I think, like a triple triple whammy for Villa. Like the first team have won, the women have won, and the under 21s have won. So it'll be amazing if they could get a double in the capital against West Ham.
Don't forget as well, Rich, don't forget in the FA Cup 5th round as well, they beat West Ham on penalties with Villa women 7-6.
Yes.
7-6 away at West Ham. So last time they were there, they got a victory on the day.
Absolutely. Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Rich says it'd be good for the team confidence winning without Kamara. Can't wait till we get back Carlos and Kamara. So yeah, it would be great. And yeah, Carlos I think is running at the moment, so we're probably looking after the international break, probably a couple of games after that in being back. But yeah, all positive signs for Villa. Lads, great to have you on. Great to have everyone watching as well and commenting. Such positive moods again. Hopefully we're back on Sunday night with a reaction show after a Villa victory. We should be back as well with the Talking Tactics. We may squeeze in tomorrow for the one after the Palace game, but Rich has been Gareth has been busy with his actual job, so has struggled to do that this week. But we will certainly be back next week. Bodymore bulletins as well when we can, when there's Villa news to round up. So loads of content coming your way. Boys, thank you very much for joining. Martin, great to have you back on board.
Cheers.
Glad to
Only
be back.
one more thing to say is remember, we all follow the Villa. Come on, boys.